Howdy, and welcome to the Highline Herd podcast, where stories ride strong and the bond between folks and their horses runs deep. Each Sunday, we're talking everything from trail tips and tack to good old horse sense and the people who live it every day. Keep up with the herd by following us over on Instagram at the Highline Herd and swinging by our website at thehighlineherd.com. Now, let's ride into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Highline Herd. I'm Skylar,
And I'm Shelby.
and today we're going to be talking more in depth about blanketing in the wintertime. Because, yes, we've talked about this topic a few times in our podcast, or we've mentioned it in episodes, but we realized we haven't really taken the time to explain some aspects of blanketing, like the actual blankets themselves. How do you fit blankets to horses? How do you know which blanket to choose? What should you look for in them? There's so much that goes into blanketing, and that's not just based on like personal preference, but also which brand is better? What style of blanket do you need? There's so many aspects.
Yeah, blanketing can be super complicated.
Yes.
And there is so much to think about, to research, to look at, to stress and overwhelm yourself with. And our goal is just to try and simplify it just a smidgen. So, Skylar mentioned how heavy of a blanket do you need? What are some of the determining factors that go into that? So, that is honestly size. Let's do size because that's the most important part of blanketing.
Let's start with size.
Let's start with size.
Try to make it a little bit more streamlined for y'all.
Yeah, let's go in order of like the most important things of what you're looking at when you're blanketing to the last thing you're considering. And you're honestly going to consider size before you consider weight, and you'll consider weight before you consider denier. So, size.
Sizing is very important. And when we say sizing, we mean the actual size of the blanket, but also the fit of the blanket on the horse.
Yeah, so it's a lot like women's jeans. Some brands run larger, some brands run smaller. There are some brands my horse fits a 78 just fine, and there are other times I have to put him into an 81.
Yes.
And there are sometimes I wonder if he should be in a bigger blanket.
And there's also aspects, and we'll circle back on this in a little bit, of like the weight of the blanket can also change the fit.
Oh, absolutely. And the style of some blankets changes the fit. The ones that don't buckle in the front, I have found run a little smaller, and I personally hate them.
Yeah, and some blankets don't have adjustable sizes, where
No.
it is you are getting a true size, and if your horse doesn't fit it, then uh-oh.
Or if your horse has a different build.
Yes.
There are some horses with more broad shoulders but longer backs, or a really short back but a really wide body.
Yeah. The good thing to keep in mind is when you are trying to measure your horse for a blanket, 9 times out of 10, the blanket company will have a size guide. They'll have measurements that you can kind of compare with your own horse's measurements and be able to pick something from that list and make sure that it fits your horse.
And they'll be able to walk you through how to measure. So I know a really common basic measurement is to measure from the center of your horse's chest to the center of their dock, their tail.
Yeah.
I personally have not found that to be accurate.
No. I've heard a lot of people talk about that, and I'm like, oh, I mean, it could work for some horses.
I have found it to not be accurate. I prefer, and this requires having a good horse community around you. This requires having good people around you. I have found that to size a blanket properly, you gotta just try them on. It's like clothes shopping.
Yeah.
You gotta just try it on.
You gotta put that pair of jeans on.
Yep. So, like, I know a horse who she measured at like a 67, so that's what her owners bought. She needed a 71.
Oh my. It's like a fat girl and a little suit.
Yeah. Yeah, so that
Ugh.
is a big reason why I'm like, just try on the blankets.
Yeah. Prime example, I'm still trying to figure out which blanket fits Sunny, my Mustang, because right now he is a little chubby monster right now. And all the blankets that I have are in different sizes. So I tried one on last night and it was the first time he's ever had a blanket on him. It was way too small, it barely even touched his butt.
Yeah,
And he
I
did
saw
not like the pressure of it on there.
I saw the picture. It was
It was really funny.
it was
'Cause
very
I had to slide it back just to cover his booty.
it was very much like when you see there's a music video that actually does this, where it's a heavier set guy and they stick him in a bikini top and booty shorts and everything's just hanging out. Nothing's fitting.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a little sunny.
Yeah.
But it's situations like that and instances like that where trying on different things and being able to have people around like, hey, do you have a spare blank size blanket that I can just see if it fits my horse?
Mhm.
Yeah. I guarantee you, me and Shelby, we can swap blankets like it's whatever.
When I was looking at blankets for Remedy, because he's little,
Mhm.
he's thick, but he's not particularly wide.
Mm-mm.
So
He's pony size almost.
I blanketing him was was going to be interesting. I was worried I wasn't going to have one for him.
Yeah.
But the sheet I saved from my previous project actually fit him, and I worry it's a little big.
Oh.
But like the length is good. It just hangs so low.
Ah.
And it's situations like that where you have to know the horse you're blanketing.
Yeah.
Do they panic when they get stuck? Because you can't change sometimes how low a blanket sits.
No.
If the actual length wither to butt fits and it's just like the amount it overhangs, you kind of got what you got.
Yes.
And it kind of sucks, but
Yeah, this is a prime example of an incident that happened at my work the other day. A lady put a blanket on a horse, and I had questioned it. I had looked at it, and I saw how loose this blanket was, how she didn't tighten any of the straps to properly, like, hug it to the horse's body. Everything was just dangling. And the blanket itself was really long, and it overhang past the horse's hocks.
ooh.
Yes. And that set off red flags for me, but that was the only blanket that fit the horse that was the weight that he needed because he was clipped. And with the cold weather rolling in, it wasn't something that I was able to take on and off or change. So what happened was, as you can imagine, the horse either went to scratch or rolled, got his leg tangled up, and had wraps on his leg, standing wraps overnight. Got that caught in the buckle of the standing wrap.
Leave it to horses to find a way.
Yeah, ripped the blanket, so it pulled it down even more to one side, to the point where his rear hind leg was basically being held off the ground by the contraption of the blanket and the straps from either him panicking or doing something. So when I walked in there in the morning, his polo wrap was half off, his leg was suspended, he couldn't walk, he couldn't move around his stall, and he was just not a happy camper.
This is why we carry knives.
This is why we carry knives. Well, I was thankfully able to calm him down enough to get into the stall, undo the buckle to completely take it off the blanket. It was very nice having a blanket that you could completely separate both sides of the buckle. The
Yeah,
straps.
those blankets that slide over their heads, I don't
Ooh.
like, because
No.
I have seen horses get tangled up in a variety of ways.
Or choked.
Yeah, and all I can think is if you can't undo the front for whatever reason, you're
Uh-oh.
screwed.
Yeah. What if
So,
your horse has its head caught and you can't take the blanket over its head? There's just so many
Yeah.
instances of like having a blanket that's easy to take on and off is so important.
And you know what? This is actually a really important note too. Make sure you have a blanket that fits your horse properly and is fitted to your horse before
Yes.
you need it.
Yeah.
So when I was looking at blankets for Remedy, it was probably October. I was getting them ready because, and Remedy still does not like being blanketed. He has many opinions about it. But I needed to make sure then that I had a blanket for him
Mm-hmm.
so it wasn't 19 degrees and I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to keep this thing warm?
Yeah.
But so I also knew what I had would fit. But sometimes blankets are just funky like pants.
Yeah.
And they may fit with or to dock just fine and be a little long.
Yeah.
What you do then is you just snug up the straps as much as you can to get it as flush as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And just also work with your horse to try and limit panic over getting stuck.
Yes.
I know some horses are just panickers. Doesn't matter what you do. But if you can kind of work with your horse that being stuck isn't the end of the world, it helps.
Yeah. And like working with Sunny, my Mustang, it's a prime example too of he's not used to having a blanket on. He's wild. He's had to just grow a winter coat and toughen it up. So I know he's perfectly fine and he can handle himself in the cold environments because that's what he's normally used to doing. But I wanted him to have the convenience and have the comfort of a blanket should he need it, or should I see him in the pasture shivering or having a trouble just staying
Blankets are a tool in your toolbox,
warm. Exactly.
not a crutch and not a villain.
No.
So, why we would use blankets is for ill horses, underweight horses, senior horses, horses with a
Mhm.
poor coat, horses that are traveling.
Horses that are clipped.
Yeah. Blankets are a fantastic tool, and no, not every horse needs them.
Mm-mm.
But it is always better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yes.
So, that also brings us to kind of how do you know what your horse needs? What weight do they need?
Yes.
So, blankets come in 3 categories. You have your sheets / your lightweights. Now, technically, a sheet is no fill, while a lightweight is 100 grams of fill, but sometimes you'll see when you're looking at them online, they're labeled as the same thing.
Mhm.
It's not particularly helpful, but sometimes it happens.
Sometimes you gotta do your due diligence and
Read everything. So, a sheet technically should have no fill. It should be either a stable sheet or a turnout sheet. If it's a turnout sheet, it should be waterproof.
Mhm.
If it is a lightweight, it is going to be about 100 to 150 grams of fill. That means it is keeping them warm.
Has a little bit more insulation to it.
Yeah.
More padding and
Medium weights are 200 to 300 grams of fill. These are for your clipped horses.
Mhm.
These are for your fuzzy boys in the trailer. These are for your fuzzy horses when the temperature suddenly plummets.
Yes, into like the really cold teens or
Zeros,
negatives.
single digits.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then your heavyweight. These are 300 grams or more.
Mhm.
And, I've seen blankets listed as 450 grams. These are your old man, senior skin and bones, clipped, no fur, no hair blankets for those horses.
Or if
Very
your horse struggles in the wintertime and you see them shivering all the time, even in their other blankets.
And you can layer blankets. I know a lot of people will not, but you can. You can put a sheet and a lightweight together to give something a little warmer.
Mhm.
I had to do that last year with my one project pony. I only had a canvas sheet and a turnout sheet.
Mhm.
Now, she was pretty fuzzy, so I didn't really have to use them very much, if at all. But I layered them to give her some extra warmth when it did get really cold.
Mhm. Or if you have a situation where your horse has to be outside and say it's snowing or maybe sleeting or there's some type of water that's coming down, you can always put your normal liner blanket, whichever that might be, and then a sheet over top that's completely waterproof, just to kind of add that extra layer to keep the water out of their blanket.
And just help their bodies retain a little bit more heat. If
Mhm.
they're working to stay warm, if they're working to fight against the wet, they're going to burn more calories, they're going to have a harder time, they're going to be more likely to colic. Throw a blanket on them, it'll raise their core temperature, they'll drink a little bit more.
Yeah.
And never hurts for them to be a little bit warm.
Mm-hmm.
Better a little bit warm than too cold.
Yeah.
A little bit warm, a little bit toasty, a little bit cozy. They're going to drink more water.
And you can also feel your horse's temperature under the blanket. Let them wear it for a few hours and then go and check on them. Feel their armpits, feel their chest, feel their backs. Are there any spots underneath the blanket that are cold to the touch where airflow might be getting in for it not fitting right?
So always check for white hair too, for rub spots.
Yes.
Check for bald spots. Check for raw spots.
Check for places where the buckles might be exposed to the fur or the skin and could rub it raw.
Yep. Which a properly fitting blanket, your buckles should not be touching your horse's skin. But, you know.
To each their own.
To each their own, but also sometimes you wind up with a blanket like Remedy's sheet, where it is, technically it fits him. If you go by length, it fits him. It just hangs a little lower than we might prefer a blanket to hang.
Yeah.
That's when you as the horse owner just do what you can with what you have and make sure those buckles are as out of the way as you can possibly get them. Crossing your straps, if you've got butt straps, twisting them so they're less likely to stay loose and tangle and all of that. Blanketing can be very dangerous. Teaching a horse to blanket can be dangerous. Getting tangled in their blankets can be dangerous. Putting a blanket on them, you can get kicked. Trust me. Remedy has some opinions, and I don't always want to be doing butt straps with him.
Well, and like last night, I'm coming to the game with Sunny a little bit late on the blanketing. I should have been working on this sooner, but it wasn't a focal point because I know.
I mean, ideally, you prepare for blanketing in August, right? You give yourself time to throw it around, throw it on and off, let them wear it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You know by then, you have your size figured out, your weight figured out, your everything. Sometimes the ideal is not what actually happens.
Yeah. So like last night, prime example, was the first time that I have tried putting a blanket on Sunny. And he did fine. He was scared. I could tell he was scared when it really like started wrinkling and started crinkling and getting on his back and then touching his butt in a way that he's not been touched in a while. And he didn't know what to do with it.
That's my booty, don't touch it.
But it was one of those situations where I remained calm. I stayed out of his personal space. And when he needed a little bit more room to kind of, oh my gosh, what is on me?
Or a little bit of reassurance,
I gave it to him. Exactly. And it's just one of those things where if you are getting your horse used to a blanket for the first time, take it slow. Don't rush into it. That's why it's way better to start it in the spring, summertime instead of now when, say, maybe your horse did need a blanket and you have to go through this process. So it's good to just plan ahead and make sure that you're prepared as can be.
As you possibly can be.
Yeah.
And this is where we also talk about the durability of your blankets, your denier, as I don't know how you actually pronounce the word. That might be the correct pronunciation. It might not. I always pronounce it as denier.
Sounds about right.
It's close enough, right?
Yeah.
The denier is the durability of your blanket. So the thickness of the individual threads that are being woven with. Very similar to a cotton thread count on a sheet or blanket or whatever. So, your denier ranges from low denier, which would be considered, 200, 210, very light strength. This is for your horses who either get turned out in a perfectly lush manicured field with nothing to possibly catch on, or your very delicate, gentle horses that have never broken anything in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
then
Willie.
And then your highest denier is like 2,000. That is like heavy duty, super strength.
Valor needs that.
Yeah, unfortunately, my whole herd needs like as high a denier as I can reasonably get in their blanket.
Yeah.
Because I have 4 geldings and only one of them is non-destructive.
It's better to go when you are shopping for blankets to get a higher denier from the get-go.
It is, and it's
Just
better
in
to get a
case.
better quality blanket too.
Yes.
I understand the temptation to buy something cheap because they only wear it once in a while or whatever, but
you want it to last and you want it to function to serve its job.
You want it to do what it's supposed to do.
Exactly. It's like
And you want
going
your
out-
horse to be safe.
Well, exactly. It's like going out and buying a winter coat off of like some cheap website online and expecting it to be the best winter coat that's out there.
You're not going to go spend $30 on a winter coat with cheap puffy arms and fabric where the wind cuts through. You're not going to do it. You're going to go and you're going to buy the, Carhartt almost leather canvas like material
Love Carhartt.
that no wind ever cuts through, or you're going to go buy leather. Like, you're going to go get something the wind doesn't cut through. You're going to go get something that isn't going to get damaged by working in a barn.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing when looking at blankets for your horses.
They're giant toddlers. They're gonna destroy things and break things and rip things, and
Yeah, and then
you gotta be prepared to
and
pay the money.
here's my secret too for blankets. As someone who owns a destructive horse, you don't have to spend $400 on a blanket.
No.
My budget for blankets is $100 to $150, and part of that is I have to get a bigger blanket, so it tends to cost more.
Because
But
it's more material.
it's more material, and I require a higher denier.
Mhm.
So, you don't have to go spend $400 on a blanket, and don't let someone tell you that you have to do that.
Mm-mm.
Now, I'm also going to tell you don't go spend $60 on a blanket, but realistically, you may be changing blankets and sheets every season,
Yes.
depending on how destructive your horse is.
And another thing, laundering your blankets.
There's no good way to do that.
There is and there isn't. In our area, we actually have a lady who will collect blankets, and she has all the machines, the equipment, everything to do laundry for horse equipment. And honestly, it is well worth it. She charges a great rate. She does everything. She also does repairs.
I was going to say, is this the lady who also repairs the blankets?
Yep.
Yeah.
She does everything. If
I
you
didn't
need a
realize
new
she was
strap-
still in business.
Oh,
I thought she was
yeah.
having some issues.
Nope, she is still. So there's people like that out there that will have and offer this service, and also some dry cleaners. You can ask them, is this you do?
Not typically dry cleaners. I know in our area, laundromats refuse horse blankets.
They will, yeah.
Especially in Lebanon, like laundromats do not want horse blankets.
No.
But some laundromats do allow horse blankets or have machines specific for horse things.
Yep.
So, that is an option, but what you have to do is if you go do that, you have to re-waterproof your blankets.
Yes.
And there's a couple different ways to do it. Pretty much any outdoor tent spray usually works to
Mhm.
waterproof with.
I bought I think it's a 20-gallon
Something or other,
thing
yeah.
off of Amazon, and it's amazing.
Yeah, so
It's awesome. Or 20-liter, I'm sorry.
horses are expensive. They're going to be expensive. But you don't have to go spend an arm and a leg
No.
to keep them warm. So, yeah, your size blanket is the most important.
Mhm.
If you have an ill-fitting blanket, you are going to have more vet bills.
Yes, that's it. I mean, as simple as it is.
Yeah.
I've seen horses with blankets too tight. I've driven by barns and looked outside in pastures and seen horses literally dragging their blankets because they were too big, they weren't fitted properly, or being caught up in their blankets.
Or
it's dangerous.
supervise your horses when they have blankets on, because some horses, and I've seen this as well, they can have a fitted blanket. They can have a very nice blanket. They just happen to be destructive toddlers that break everything you put near them.
Or if you have horses that play in the field with
That's
their
a big
blankets,
one.
getting caught stuck together.
That's what happens to all my fly masks. All my geldings have to take each other's off and stomp it into the mud.
Yeah.
They're so nice to me.
When I do end up putting a blanket on Sunny, if he needs them, I know for a fact I'm not going to be leaving him unsupervised with it on for the first time. He is going to have as much supervision as possible. I will have cameras pointed into the pasture so that I can watch him, or in the stall so that I can watch him, and make sure that he doesn't get caught up. And if he does...
So, here's a recommendation too. Don't blanket your horse for the first time and put him in a stall.
No.
I would say let him go in the round pen or the arena, wherever they have the least amount of things to get hung up on.
Let them move around, feel how it feels,
Listen to the sound.
adjust to it.
Yeah. And let them lay down and get up safely.
Yeah.
So, these are all things, you got to be ready when you're blanketing a horse. You got to be ready to introduce a horse to a blanket and do it sooner rather than later. So it's not the middle of a blizzard, negative 20 degrees, and you're trying to get a blanket on your barely broke baby for the very first time ever.
Yeah.
Like, no.
No, don't do it.
Save yourself the stress.
Yeah.
Take the time. Do it right.
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
Your fill is going to be how heavy your blanket is. Your fill is
Yeah.
going to be the grams. Your denier is going to be your durability. The higher the number, the better.
Mhm.
Same with the fill. The higher the number, the warmer it is.
Yes.
And, blanketing's not detrimental. It's not going to hurt your horse's coat. It's not going to damage their ability to puff or withstand
or to
wind.
keep growing their coat. No.
Well, it can impede some hair growth
But not
if you
enough.
put it on early enough in the season. But
Yeah.
I think most people... Okay, here's the most important thing to remember, folks. Just because you're cold doesn't mean your horse is cold.
No. Not at all. There is this lovely lady at the barn that I work at, and she always asks me if she should put her blanket on her horse. And I'll take her over and look at the temperature, because we have a thermostat in the barn, and I'll be like, hey, it's going to be 40 degrees in the barn. Yes, it's 20 to 30 degrees outside with the wind chill, but they're in here. It's nice and warm. You don't need a thick
And a
blanket.
barn full of horses is going to generate a lot of heat.
Exactly.
They've got a lot of body heat.
Exactly.
I like going in my barn in the winter. My barn in the winter is significantly warmer than
Once you
outside.
Close it all up. It's
Yeah.
nice and toasty.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful, especially with the heated buckets too. Yeah,
That's another episode.
that's another episode in its own right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just something. Pay attention to your horse.
Your horse will let you know if they're cold. They do shiver. And sometimes it's
Mhm.
very slight. It just looks like a little muscle tremor, usually starting around the shoulders
A
or
twitch,
the neck.
almost.
Yeah. But if you see that, or if they're standing a little more tense than usual, toss a blanket on them.
Mhm.
Start with a light sheet or just a lightweight 100 gram, 150 gram fill and go from there. I have one. I thought I'd be having to put a heavier blanket on her. She's been just fine in her lightweight. She was a little chilly when it got to like 25, so I threw her lightweight on her, and she has been happy as a clam since. I haven't had to up it.
Good.
So, your horses will tell you.
They will, and just pay attention.
Just
It's-
listen. Yeah.
That's all it really boils down to.
And I know a lot of people want an easy answer of, oh, should I blanket my horse? Shouldn't I blanket? And unfortunately,
It depends on the horse.
it's such an individual basis on, case by case basis.
Yep. Just like you could be fine outside in a certain temperature, and somebody else next to you could be freezing.
I personally am a cold runner. I am always cold.
Mhm.
I am like, oh, it's 40 degrees. I need all the layers possible.
Mhm.
My partner, he is one of those who always runs at 100 degrees. And unfortunately, it's 16 degrees and he's in a t-shirt and he's like, oh, this is
This
great.
feels wonderful.
I'm like, bro, you're insane.
Yeah.
So,
It all just depends. It's a base by base situation and what your horse is telling you. And something I would like to talk about too is if you don't need to blanket your horse and they're outside in the snow, watch their bodies, because that'll tell you all it needs. Watch how the snow is.
they should have a nice snowy icy crust on their backs that their fur is doing its job.
Yes. A lot of people
Which
see
keep
that.
your horses clean. Keep your horses clean so their coats can do their job.
Exactly. Yes.
A
yes, yes.
muddy coat cannot block out the wind and block out the snow effectively.
No, and the hair can't rise and puff up
No.
and keep them
They get so
wind
poofy,
resistant.
don't they? They look like they're covered in velvet.
Yes, but no, it's something to pay attention to. If your horse is standing outside in the snow, even if they have a shelter and they don't want to use said shelter, because that happens a lot, it's okay.
Ungrateful little.
Yeah, I know. You want to see the snow building up on their body, because that, contrary to what people would typically think, that's a good thing. That means that their body is regulating their internal temperature and their external temperature to the best of its ability, and not letting that snow melt and become water and then get them wet.
The
That's when you
heat is
have-
not escaping their bodies if they have a snowy crust.
Exactly. If you see that it's snowing outside and your horse looks like they're sweating, they're covered head to toe in water, and they're starting to get cold, that water is going to turn into ice. And then they're going to start shivering, and then they're going to have all these problems, and you're going to have to deal with all those problems.
Give them a blankie.
That's when they need a blanket.
Mm-hmm. So blanketing's complicated, but it's also not. It's as complicated as you want to make it.
Yes.
Reality is horses are far more simple than we give them credit for, and they will communicate very clearly what they need.
Exactly.
We just have to be listening,
Yes.
paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully this episode cleared some things up for you guys about, what blankets to look for and what different terms mean. I know sometimes it's a little overwhelming when you see all these terms, denier and fill and
Oh my gosh, my head is spinning. There's
Yeah.
so much. But it's not as complicated as it sounds once you
No.
get into it. And if you have
For most
questions-
horses, a sheet or 200 gram is sufficient.
And if you have questions, you can always ask people. There's horse communities online everywhere, and everybody would love to give you their opinions.
Oh, yes.
Especially regarding
you know what?
blanketing.
You guys are always welcome to shoot us an email or a message, and we can discuss certain things on the podcast, too.
We would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, you should reach out to our email. Share your stories. We are looking for people to share their stories, their experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, silly, you name it. Anything that's horse related. We want to hear it. And who knows, maybe we'll feature it in one of our Tales from the Trails episodes. So if you enjoyed this week's episode, stay tuned for next week. We will see you soon. We hope you enjoyed this week's topic. Join us for new episodes every Sunday. And to keep up with the herd, be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Highline Herd and visit our website at thehighlineherd.com. We hope you enjoy the show. See you next week.